7 foods that diabetics should avoid. Number 1. Refined sugar. Did you know that refined sugar, such as white sugar and high fructose corn syrup, can be a serious concern for people with diabetes? Now, here are the reasons. Increased insulin resistance. Refined sugar can make insulin in the body less effective. This is certainly not good news for those with diabetes. Rapid blood sugar spike. Refined sugar is quickly absorbed by the body, causing an immediate spike in blood sugar. Be cautious. Obesity temptation. Excessive sugar consumption can lead to weight gain. Interestingly, obesity becomes a close companion to diabetes. Disrupted hormonal system. Or refined sugar confuses the hormones that regulate appetite. As a result, you might end up overeating. Increased inflammation. Refined sugar can cause your body to swell and stress. This could be a trigger for diabetes-related issues. Number 2. Foods with high glycemic index. Foods with high glycemic index can have negative impacts on people with diabetes. Here's a simpler explanation. Rapid blood sugar increase. These foods can cause a quick spike in blood sugar after eating, which is not good for people with diabetes. Difficult blood sugar control. The sudden rise in blood sugar makes it challenging for the body, especially for those with diabetes, to regulate blood sugar efficiently, increasing the risk of long-term health issues. Increased insulin resistance. Consuming high glycemic index foods can contribute to increased insulin resistance, potentially triggering type 2 diabetes or worsening existing diabetes conditions. Triggering overeating. High glycemic index foods can make you feel hungry constantly, making it difficult to control weight and eating patterns, causing inflammation and oxidative stress. These foods have been associated with increased inflammation and oxidative stress in the body, worsening diabetes complications. Number 3. Processed foods high in carbohydrates. Processed foods high in carbohydrates can be harmful for people with or at risk of diabetes. Here are some reasons why. Rapid blood sugar spikes. Processed foods often have a high glycemic index, meaning they can cause a quick increase in blood sugar levels. This rapid spike in blood sugar can strain the insulin system responsible for managing blood glucose. Insulin resistance. Excessive consumption of processed carbohydrates can lead to insulin resistance. Insulin resistance occurs when the body's cells do not respond well to insulin, which is crucial for helping glucose enter cells. This can result in elevated blood sugar levels. Pancreatic overstimulation. Processed carbohydrate intake can prompt the pancreas to produce more insulin to cope with the surge in blood sugar. Over time, this overstimulation may damage pancreatic cells and accelerate the development of diabetes. Accumulation of abdominal fat. Some processed foods high in carbohydrates contribute to the accumulation of fat around the abdominal organs, which is linked to an increased risk of type 2 diabetes. Abdominal fat can affect insulin sensitivity and promote inflammation. Low nutritional content. Processed foods often lack sufficient fiber and essential nutrients. Dietary fiber helps control glucose absorption, and the absence of necessary nutrients can worsen diabetes-related issues. Inclusion of added sugar and additives. Processed foods commonly contain added sugars, salt, and various additives. The consumption of added sugars can increase the risk of insulin resistance and obesity, both of which contribute to diabetes. Disruption of lipid metabolism. Processed foods high in simple carbohydrates and saturated fats can impact lipid metabolism, raising triglyceride levels, which also contributes to diabetes. Number 4. Fruits with high sugar content. Here are some examples of fruits with high sugar content that people with diabetes should avoid or consume with caution. Bananas. Despite being rich in nutrients, bananas have naturally high sugar content. Grapes, especially in the form of juice or dried, contain high sugar. Mangoes have high natural sugar content. Pineapples contain high natural sugar. Durian. This fruit has a high sugar and carbohydrate content. For those with diabetes, it is recommended to monitor the overall carbohydrate intake, including fruits. It is also important to regularly check blood sugar levels and consult with a doctor or nutritionist for guidance tailored to individual health conditions. Number 5. High sodium foods. Foods high in sodium can have adverse effects on individuals with diabetes. Excessive sodium intake can elevate blood pressure, increasing the risk of heart disease, a common concern for those with diabetes. Here is further information on the impact of high sodium foods on people with diabetes. High blood pressure. High sodium foods can lead to elevated blood pressure. Individuals with diabetes already have a higher risk of developing high blood pressure, and this increase can further escalate the risk of health complications. Risk of heart disease. Those with diabetes are at a higher risk of heart disease. Excessive sodium consumption can cause fluid retention, placing additional strain on the heart and potentially worsening their health condition. Fluid retention. Sodium can contribute to fluid retention, affecting blood sugar control. Fluid retention may make it more challenging for the body to effectively regulate blood sugar levels. Number 6. Dumplings and instant noodles. Dumplings and instant noodles generally have a lot of carbohydrates that can raise blood sugar. This needs to be watched out for by people with diabetes. There are a few things to consider. High carbohydrates. Dumplings and instant noodles have a lot of carbohydrates that can raise blood sugar. For those with diabetes, it's important to pay attention to the amount of carbohydrates consumed. Sugar and sauce. Some dumplings and instant noodles may have added sugar and sauce that can increase the sugar content in the food. This can lead to an increase in blood sugar. Low fiber. Dumplings and instant noodles usually lack fiber, which can affect blood sugar control. Fiber is good for helping regulate blood sugar. High sodium. Instant foods often have high sodium, which can negatively impact blood pressure. People with diabetes need to be more careful about sodium intake. Number 7. Foods with artificial sweeteners. Foods with artificial sweeteners need to be approached with caution for people with diabetes. Artificial sweeteners, such as aspartame or sucralose, are thought to provide sweetness without adding sugar. However, there are a few things to keep in mind. Impact on blood sugar. Even though artificial sweeteners themselves don't contain sugar, some studies suggest that consuming foods with artificial sweeteners can affect blood sugar levels and make insulin less effective. This can complicate diabetes management. Appetite influence. Some research indicates that artificial sweeteners can influence appetite, affecting our eating patterns. This could be a concern for those with diabetes because controlling food intake is crucial. Possible side effects. While generally considered safe by many health authorities, not everyone may react well to artificial sweeteners. Some people might be allergic or too sensitive. Therefore, it's important to observe any bodily reactions after consuming foods with artificial sweeteners. Important to note that this advice is general and needs to be tailored to each individual's health condition. Consult with a doctor or nutrition expert to get more specific guidance based on personal health needs and conditions.